The first thing is that if there is no communication, no chance to stop the war. So communication is the number one. Very few wars in the European history went on without communication with the fighting parties. And what we are doing is bad because we don't have communication line to the Russians. So we need communication to Ukraine and we need communication to Russia as well. If you look at the stories of the wars in the last 30 years, at least 3 ceasefires belong to one peace plan. So you can't start to make peace by peace plan. Peace plan is very important. But first communication, second ceasefire, then to start to negotiate on peace plan. This is the right order. We are not doing that at this moment. That's the reason I went to Kiev first, then to Moscow, then to Beijing, then to Washington NATO summit, and then to Mar-a-Lago, hopefully to the next president of the United States, to discuss the war.
It's done. It's already done.
Hopefully,
you have the result.
Hopefully. And if you compare where we are now, beginning of September, to the position where we were in beginning of July, now the level of confrontation and number of victims are far higher than it was. So I think my prediction was right, and my suggestions to the other leaders were right. And it's, that's European Union, as I said. They don't take it seriously into account, and they don't act on that basis. They have the right to do so also. But it was a bad decision. It's impossible to create a qualified majority-based foreign policy, not because only Hungary, but all the minor countries. So it's impossible that the foreign policy as Hungary is defined by Germany and France and probably Italy. It will never happen. That would be the end of sovereignty of our country. So not only Hungary, but many of the minor countries, not as big as you are, or the Germans and the French, will never accept qualified majority. There is another reason why I'm so much in favor of Trump. Because my understanding is that losing the competitiveness of the West, and especially the European Union, our response up to now is rather a kind of block formation, economic blocks. And we have a political expression of the same thing. Democracies, again, also autocracies. But the approach of President Trump was different, as is different. This is a plan of deal-making. So what we need, deal-making approach. Otherwise, it will be difficult to cooperate with the western part of the world economy, with the eastern part of the world economy. It will be not without conflicts, even, and discussions and disputes between the European Union and America. Trump's possible presidency does not mean that there will be no difference of interest in this field. But a deal-making approach is far better than to create a kind of blocks of the Eastern world economy and the Western world economy. And we are moving to that direction. And I think it's totally against the competitiveness of the European Union. Well, I think the experience of this war, Ukraine-Russian war, revealed the fact that Europe is weak. Militarily, on the industrial side, and the army side as well. So we are too small, we are too weak. And without having a coordinated industry of defense, without having a coordinated army building process of the member states, we cannot be stronger than we are today. The question is whether it should be inside NATO or outside NATO. And the reason why it is a smart question is that there are some members of European Union who are not members of NATO, and other members are. And the question is whether we can build up a European defense structure where the non-NATO members are part of it, and at the same time this whole European architecture is belonging to NATO. So the question is very much relevant. My answer is yes, it's possible. So in my understanding, the European defense system is belonging to NATO, and this is the European flank of NATO.